Hey everyone, my name is Maria, and to start off my topic, I want to ask everyone a question first. What is your home, and what does home mean to you? Now, when I said the word home, I'm sure a lot of you thought about your nationality. It seems obvious that where we come from means that's where we belong. Citizenship, passports represent where we come from, but it doesn't define our home. International students have a hard time identifying um, where they belong because they might have one or two nationalities or they tend to move from one country to another. And we all know the word home, but what does it actually mean? Do we consider home as part of a nationality, or is it merely something more than that? As a third culture kid, I wanted to express how I've been feeling this confusion. For anyone who isn't familiar with the term third culture kid, BBC defines this term as children who spent their formative years outside their parents' homeland. In other words, TCK or third culture kids applies to anyone who spent their childhood outside their parents' countries during their significant developing years. Um, as a third culture kid, your life sounds like an interesting novel. When you first talk with people, they usually ask, "So, where have you lived?" And after you answer their question, they look intrigued and surprised. Whenever I tell people that I lived in England for 7 years, they always say, "Whoa, I never knew that." Above all, I am grateful to experience living and travel to multiple countries from such a young age. And I hope anyone who's watching this from YIS or any other international school uh, will learn something from this. And I hope this relates to few of the TCKs as um, settling into a new environment is always a challenge. I realized from experience that there are few advantages and disadvantages to identify as a third culture kid. The first advantage is to develop social skills. Moving means constantly meeting new people, and over time, you develop to be confident and approachable. Adapting to new environment is a skill, and it might take a few weeks or months to settle in, but you get to gain friends from all around the world. Next is sense of diversity and acceptance. TCK, observant and accepting. They have expanded worldviews, they're culturally aware, and have different perspective when it comes to a specific issue. And growing up in England, it never growing up in England, I was exposed to a diverse group of individuals, so it was normal for me to never judge anyone from their race or skin color. And it never occurred to me until I was older that racism still exists, and that was pretty shocking for me. And other positive factors of TCKs would include traveling and experience different cultures. You feel grateful for learning about different traditions and cultures as they all have their own originality and uniqueness. You also feel grateful for meeting different types of people in the world. With the listed advantages follows up with disadvantages as well. Now, moving on with the disadvantages, we question where our home is. After moving quite frequently, you start to question where you fit in or where you belong. I remember when I visited during Japan for the holidays, I felt like a foreigner. I can still speak Japanese, but I never felt as if I fit into society. I felt like an outsider. It never really made me want to open up about this because I was young and this was a complex feeling to process. But after moving here in Japan, I met a couple of people who shared similar emotions as me, who were also lost and feeling out of place. I realized that this emotion is common. It's just that we are never encouraged to talk about this. The next disadvantages are difficulty with identity formation and confusion. A lot of the TCK struggles a bit more with finding themselves, and the reason is that they have to settle into a new environment every time they move. Personally, it took me months to um, settle into a new place, And it's really common to have some unresolved grief where you still miss the place you used to live. Because of this, TCKs are wiser and mature. They are used to change and adjusting to new places. The last disadvantages are ignorance of home culture. I know a lot of TCKs that aren't fluent with their mother tongue, and it can be difficult for some of them to connect with their relatives. I can still speak Japanese, but to be honest, it took my mom's tutoring and Saturday schools to master the level of Japanese I have achieved so far. I realized that when we live outside of our home country, it is challenging to keep up both our mother tongue and English. And this is a common conflict, and we need to understand that not everyone grows up with the same ethnicity and background. After several years of finding my place to go home, I think I found an answer. Home isn't something you can answer so easily. Home can determine different meanings for everybody. My definition of home is a place or people I feel happy to be surrounded by. Moving and change were one of my fears because I hated the fact that I needed to say goodbyes and start off a new journey. I would worry a lot whether I would fit in with the people and if I was ever going to be happy. But I'm glad I moved multiple times because it shaped my perspective, knowledge, and experience. After 2 years of living in Japan, I became close to numerous people, and I wouldn't have been who I am today without these experiences. Um, Lastly, it's common for relationships and friendships to fall out. We fear to let them go, but think about it this way. Because we won't have these people forever, make the time right now and count those moments. People will leave out in life, but what matters the most is how they shape us who we are today. Now, I want all of you to visualize the people you feel the most comfortable, happy, safe to be surrounded by. And I also want you to visualize a place you feel connected to and filled with memories. This home, and before I end this speech, I want to ask you one last question. What is your home, and what does home mean to you? Thank you.